Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our review of The Bachelorette Episode 2. I don't know if you guys expected all of the drama that we had this early on. I think I can speak for all of us in Bachelor Nation at this very moment.
Yeah.
What is with this guy? Like, really? Okay. Yosef is the dude who you show up to the restaurant and like this guy is there at your table. You've never met him, but he's like, let me order for you now. You're going to have the steak and the potato. It's like, you don't know me. You don't tell me what to do, Yosef.
Which is why the person who came out of this episode the best for me was Riley. I love him. He's so cute. And I love that he was just like, nah, you don't talk for me.
Yeah, I appreciate. I would have loved him even more if he was like, "You're not my king, Yosef." Like, you know, just take it there. If Yosef is gonna go just like full obnoxious toolbox this season, which, based on all the previews, we're going there.
We're going there.
We might as well just combat that with as much just like as possible. There were moments this episode that made me happy.
Yes.
There were moments this episode that filled me with indescribable rage.
And then there was Riley.
Riley, you are
He's my champion.
He is a bright spot in like a swirling sea of chaos and darkness that was this episode.
Right?
Before we get into it, and we have a lot to get into, if you guys do enjoy this discussion, subscribe for more, give us a like, and hit that notification bell for more updates.
We also have Amazing Race coming up tomorrow night, so if you guys are watching that, we are also watching that. So be sure to come back tomorrow night for that.
Or even race back to the channel. Oh, right, I will. Don't leave. Don't leave. We still have a lot to talk about here. Where do we begin with all of this? Okay, I feel like let's just get it over with and let's talk about Classless Gate and Yosef and his entire episode just full of like, just pure like, this he's not, okay, this is a tough comparison to make here.
Yeah.
Because I think he is very much one of the most unlikable contestants I've seen over the past, like within a couple of episodes we've had. He's not doing what Bentley did on Ashley's season.
Okay, nobody's doing that. That was the worst.
He's not doing anything like that. So I'm not saying he's Bentley, but it's just like the way that he like goes into the confessional and just sort of like degrades sort of this experience and talks about how, you know, Claire's not who he thought she was gonna be. It makes me icky in the same way that Bentley kind of made me icky way back when.
Yeah, and the thing about it is listen, like when he was talking about that dodgeball thing, which we're gonna get into that whole strip dodgeball thing.
Yeah.
I get where he's coming from. I didn't like watching it myself. I think that sometimes this show take things too far with that stuff. I don't need it to go that far where he's like, oh man, I wouldn't do that, you know, like I feel like I respect myself more, and I don't think it's about that, but whatever it is that he's gonna say. But he does just, I mean, he just comes across as such like a douche. Like he is better than her because he wouldn't do that, and he's better than the other guys because he wouldn't do that. And even though I didn't want to watch it and I wasn't enjoying it, that doesn't mean that what they were doing was like, oh, how dare you, should never done that. You should have never agreed to have this strip dodgeball. It's fine. If that's what you want to do and you're like, I'm okay with it, that's okay. Be okay with it. But Yosef, you're not better than those guys because you're like, oh man, I would never do it. Cool, I would never do it too. But it's okay for the guys who did. Like, it just is a choice.
Everyone's got the right to do what they want to do in this situation. And no, I am not a big fan of the let's strip everyone down and get them do something ridiculous. Like,
yeah, and then get them all to give you these, like, undressed hugs. Like, it was so strange for me to watch. Like, it made me uncomfortable to watch. But all of these types of things do, like the pillow fight that went on last season. Like, I don't want to watch this.
No, it's weird and it's uncomfortable and it kind of just like, you get all these messages all the time about how we want these deep relationships to come out of these shows and all this. And then it's also, hey, everyone, take off your shorts. And
yeah, like even with Claire's talk tonight with Brandon, where she was like, oh, and you came on the show, and why'd you come on? Oh man, I came on the show because I heard you were going to be the Bachelorette, and you're so beautiful, and I wanted to come here and get to know you better. You don't know anything about me, and you want to get to know me better, and you just think I'm beautiful? Get out. I'm just like, okay, like earlier you just made everybody take all their clothes off. So like, it's all, everybody's looking at each other, you know, like, come on.
Let's talk all the production too. Actually, no, I got a minute more on Yosef here, because this is the thing, like, I don't like a lot of the, I didn't like this date. I didn't like the whole, you know, you guys have to take off your clothes part of it or whatever else. But there is such a better way to go about all of this than be like, well, I find that classless. Like, how about...
It's not classless. It's just a choice. It's fine.
How about just have a conversation with Claire and be like, you know, if I was on that date, I wouldn't have wanted to do that. I think that's uncomfortable. But also, you know, don't get into a huff about Claire. It's not like Claire was sitting in like a production meeting with like Mike Fleiss and the producers of the show 3 months ago when they were coming up with the dates.
Yeah, let's be honest here. It's not like it's presented on the show where Chris Harrison's like, hey guys, we're all playing dodgeball. And then Claire's like, and I'm putting in a twist that I just thought of right now that everybody's going to strip. Like, that's not what's happening. It's production has come up with this date and is like, okay, this is it. I mean, years back, remember that horrible lie detector date that everybody went on? That was the worst. Why would anybody choose this?
If you are one of these guys on the show, the moment that you get handed, like, because they put that giant box over it, like,
yeah.
We don't know if it's, like, underwear, a jockstrap, or whatever else, but, like, the moment that you get handed that thing, you're like, okay, they're gonna make me strip down into this, because you're not all gonna have a uniform piece of underwear given to you by production for any other reason.
I feel like it was quite revealing because they all looked like they were holding their business walking back, that it was revealing to say the least.
All of this was a lot of it wasn't needed. You know, Yosef can take many seats as a result of his behavior.
I would have really enjoyed just seeing the dodgeball game. Like, dodgeball is so fun, and it's really fun to watch. And watch people get competitive, watch other people just have fun with it.
If you can dodge a chair, you can dodge a ball.
Oh.
I would have loved this so much more if they, like, brought in... like, well, I guess you would have had to quarantine him first, and now, after 14 days locked in, here is Vince Vaughn, here is Ben Stiller dressed as his character, here's Chuck Norris as the judge. Like, okay, I could go, I love Dodgeball so much. The movie, I have not played actual Dodgeball since I was like 8 years old.
As far as, before we get off of Yosef, I gotta say, I said a little bit at the beginning about Riley. I really like that he said something in front of everybody and in front of Claire when he was kind of like, oh, we all feel this way. That he was quick to step in and say, no, you don't speak for me in front of everybody, because nobody else did. And if no one else did, then it would have been Yosef being like, oh, we all feel this way. And that's the way it is. And to go later and be like, oh, by the way, I don't feel that way. It just doesn't feel as strong as what Riley did, where he was just like, no, you don't speak for me. In front of everybody, that's a no.
And him
I really like him. He was the champion for me of this episode.
Well, he handled that really well. He handled the conversation solo with Claire really well.
Oh, it was so cute with the dancing and the getting flustered. I just like Riley so much.
I think Riley, I feel like we all kind of know she's going to choose Dale. Like,
I know,
we don't have to... It's just Riley... You can go to paradise.
We'll see you on Bachelor in Paradise.
If for some reason they replace Claire halfway through this season with someone else, maybe you will have a chance with that person. We can all have hope. Can I also point out, like, here's number one on my top of my Bachelor in Paradise contender board right now. Give me all of Bennett in between the... he starts talking about Harvard, and the minute he does, Claire's like, oh, actually, let me go back out there. Bennett is still sitting in that hotel room.
Bennett is such a character. Like, he really is. He's not getting chosen, but he is such a character. Even when everyone's running back as fast as they can, jumping over benches, and he's just like, I'm coming back. He's just strolling back.
Bennett is who Andy Bernard from The Office wishes that he was.
Yeah, he really is, except, he went to Harvard instead of Cornell.
Yeah, like, you know Bennett is secretly a part of, like, some sort of, like, barbershop quartet. He had that, like, weird thing at the end of the episode where he's, like, showing off his room. I love everything about this guy, but he is the John Paul Jones of this season, where
he is strange.
He will be, I was about to say evicted, this is not Big Brother. He will be booted from the bubble within probably an episode or two.
Probably. They'll keep him around for a little bit. He is entertaining.
We can enjoy the ride, but let's go back to the first group date. Like, back before we saw glimpses of possible junk on our screen, we had love languages.
Yes, we did. And this was a good date. I mean, it wasn't anything that I was like, wow, this is so groundbreaking. But there was a lot in the first half of this episode that was really focused in on emotions and pulling out. A lot of it felt like Clare had been, like, married to these guys for, like, 20 years. And they're all like, we're going on a retreat and, like, having, therapy together. And, by the time you're reading love languages, you're having trouble in your relationship, I feel.
It was a weird date. Like, there were some nice moments in there here or there, but there were also some that I was just like, wait, what? Like, one of the guys, unfortunately, I don't remember his name off the top of my head, but he brought this baseball that he had, like, gotten when he was so many years old. Like, you're gonna give this to Clare, who you just, like, met an episode ago? Like, this seems like this is kind of sentimental.
Yeah.
And then it was like Dale just brought her, like, dog perfume.
Yeah, it was just like, why did you guys bring these? Like, did production tell everybody bring something special to give to Clare? Because it was just like, you're just randomly carrying that around, are you, Dale?
I have to have dog perfume everywhere I go.
It's so weird.
I know my Dale sounds nothing like Dale. I'm well aware of this. But that, like, all of that was really, really weird. The whole communication aspect of it, like the whole thing that set off Clare at that party with nobody really knowing what to say to her at first. I honestly, and like this is just me on the outside looking in as a very awkward person, I don't know if there'd be like a certain fear of like, oh, I don't want to like overstep anyone else, or then I say something and then somebody else sweeps in and makes me feel bad.
No, I agree, actually, that I'm not saying she overreacted or anything. She's on a show where the guys have nothing to do except, like, date her. That is all they have. There's no internet, there's no going out, there's nothing. It's, you're here and the only thing you can concentrate on is Clare. And in past seasons, you do see people who are, like, jumping up to take this person, oh, let's have some time, whatever it is. But it may have been she just has a group of guys who were a little more respectful of each other, that aren't climbing over each other or punching each other down to get to Clare, that they're just kind of like, okay, let's make sure everybody has a little bit of time. There's a little bit of awkwardness. It's an awkward situation.
You have to be in this like weird hotel that they were really gussying up this hotel at the start of this. They were like, I can't believe after so long in quarantine I'm here. And it kind of actually looked like it was the same place that they had been when they were in quarantine.
Yep.
Didn't look all that different, I gotta say. But good for Riley for getting the rose.
Yes.
Good for all of us for making it through all of this, because, you think it's going to get funnier from here, but instead...
We get the Jason date, and that legit felt like couples therapy 20 years later. They felt like they were like, oh man, our relationship is on the rocks. We got to find a way to save this. Let's go to this couples retreat where we're going to be just screaming and throwing things and writing letters from our former selves to us as younger people or whatever was going on. Well, let's burn stuff in a fire. This is all like they're in a therapy session. It was very, very weird. And it was also just, this is something you do later in a relationship. This is not a first date. So it feels like Jason just got kind of the raw end of the stick with it. And I know that he went along with it, was like, oh, this is all right, sort of whatever. But it was just getting kind of weird at the end when Claire's just like, I want to know your demons. We're going to get to know. I was just like, why are you doing this to this guy? This is strange.
Let's bring back the giant cauldron that the producers were clearly stirring leading up into all of this, because,
oh my goodness,
Claire was like, I chose you for this date. Maybe that's true, but I feel like it's 95% the producers were like, that's the most closed off person in this cast. Let's make him go through this entire ringer of a situation.
And he was a champ through it. He really, for a guy that is that closed off, that has clearly seen some stuff. He didn't get too deep into everything, but he got deep enough that I was just like, good for you. Like, if you are really this type of guy, and of course it's reality TV, so that's why I'm saying if you're this type of guy, you never know on these shows, if you're this type of guy, and you're willing to open up as much as you did about these types of things, about how you feel about yourself, things that you've seen with your own parents, how it's formed you, how it's formed your brother. I mean, there was a lot that we learned about Jason, where by the end of it I was like, okay, I really like Jason. This is pretty cool. It's good to get to know a guy this deeply. But it didn't feel like it was really a bonding experience for them, because they felt like they were in therapy. It wasn't romantic.
It didn't feel like she really took that much away from it at all. I think maybe he got something a little bit out of it.
Yeah, she said something kind of strange near the end of it, where she was just like, I'm here to push you, or I'm here to help you, or, push you further, or whatever. I was just like, is that why you're here for him? Like, that is not right for this type of scenario. You're here to fall in love. You're not here to necessarily be like, I'm here to push you out of your comfort zone, make you feel better, get you to that next step. I was just like, weird date.
It felt like she was his life coach at a certain point of it, and I just feel
that's
like...
what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it just felt like we were in some weird other reality show, and the only thing I could sort of think about is... on a lot of other seasons of The Bachelorette, you see, like, these guys who get to, like, go to foreign cities and, like, run around and, like, have some wonderful experience. And then, I don't know when Jason signed up for this show or whatever, but I'm sure he had very specific visions of what his time would look like. Yeah. And instead, he's throwing things at rocks and yelling in the middle of his date.
Yeah, it was a really intense date.
It was not, I don't know, at a certain point I was just like, you know what, I understand they're trying to come up with things, I guess, to do that are interesting in this same location, but I would have rather just watched Bennett, like, gallop around outside for 5 minutes than most of this.
This episode just kind of confused me about really... I guess what Claire is kind of looking for in general, because we did have this like therapy type date that was like really intense. Then we had the love languages, which is getting more emotional and having all the touch and feel and all this gift giving and all the other stuff. I've read this book as well. And then you're getting into stripping dodgeball. Like it's such like an arc of all these different things, and then she's kicking out Brandon because he's there because she's beautiful, and I was just like, I don't actually know what Claire is looking for, and that's the thing that I've come out of this episode being kind of confused. Like, she is clearly looking for Dale, but what is it about Dale that you're looking for from him? Because what the producers have put together for Claire, because these obviously aren't Claire's choices, what they've put together for Claire is confusing me of what she's looking for.
This whole episode was just sort of a mystery wrapped in an enigma wrapped in hypocrisy, because it was sort of just also like, you have... Apparently, you can break the rules in all these other situations, and all's fair in love and war, but then Blake Moynes, who I apparently have to call his full name because there are 2 Blake M's on this show somehow.
I see.
Like, apparently...
We'll call him Canadian Blake.
Okay, well, apparently...
He's from, like, Hamilton, which is not that far from where I grew up.
He is apparently the worst person ever because he got upset that he lost a stupid dodgeball game and he decided to spend time. Like, how terrible would you feel if Claire really was like your soulmate and you didn't get to spend time with her and she sent you home because you did not know how to dodge a ball fast enough?
Yeah, he felt like a real sore loser about that. I mean, it could always be just the edit as well, obviously, but he was obviously upset about it to enough of a degree that he's like, I'm gonna break the rules again. Because remember, this is the guy who contacted her before the season. He broke the rules to make sure she was okay, and she really appreciated that. Now he's broken the rules again. All the guys came out to be like, get this guy out of here. Like, we won. Why is he here? And I actually thought they were going to get really mad when she said, give me another second with this guy, that they weren't going to be like, are you kidding me?
It's just like, I'm glad they didn't. It's like, it's not that serious, guys. You won a dodgeball game. Congratulations. Like,
it's true, but there needs to be a little bit of sort of respect on it, that for their time. And that's what it is everybody is competing for time. They won time. And then this guy lost and still got time. And then got a rose for it later. I was really surprised she did that. Like, really surprised. I thought, okay, he'll probably get one during the ceremony, and there was none tonight.
Yeah.
But I was really surprised. I was like, that is like a declaration of break the rules, guys.
But it's all of this season is just so weird because it is sort of like you get chastised for breaking the rules at one point, then you get praised at one point for for breaking the rules, and then you've got like Yosef, who is like, I'm so uncomfortable with all of this sort of stuff. It's classless. And then you have a scene of him, like, changing, and, like, there's clearly a cameraman there, and he was apparently all right with doing that. I mean, granted, we didn't see him change his pants or anything, but still, it was just, I don't understand what this show is right now. I don't know what Claire wants. I don't know what I want. I don't know what Chris Harrison is doing during all his, he can't go and play golf somewhere else right now, so what is he doing in his spare time?
This was a crazy, weird, confusing, messy episode, and I'm still here for it. Like, I'm looking for the messiness of this whole thing right now. It is exciting. It is ridiculous. I love it. I
am mostly here at this point because I want to see
Bennett.
I love Bennett so much. I also am going to love so much finally. Like, forget all this stupid editing on it. I just want to see Claire just tell off Yosef at this point, because we know what's happening.
Oh, it's coming.
Like, I feel like that will be like the food for my soul of dealing with this nonsense from him for the past couple of episodes.
Yep.
I mean, was Tyler C, the other Tyler C that nobody's going to remember, was he right all along in saying this dude was trouble?
I'm sure he was. I mean, like, it's been 2 episodes and he's been trouble every episode.
I don't know what to make of any of this, but please out there, help sedate us after what we have gone through. Let us know what you thought of all of it. If you have any idea what in the world is going on, and if you guys do like this video.
Or Riley.
Yeah, Riley, congratulations. You were like the one person who we feel like, you know, has romantic potential beyond Dale, who's obviously going to be with Claire, and we just like Bennett for the comedic relief. But if you guys like this video and want to support us more, check those links to the store, our Patreon, and we'll see you here next time.